Hello, everyone, and a special welcome to all the IGNOU aspirants tuning in. If you've ever really thought about why we pour so much time and money into education, well, you've come to the right place. Today, we're diving into a huge debate in development studies, human capital versus human capability. Now, understanding this isn't just about passing your exams. It's about understanding how the world works. But trust me, getting this right is going to make a massive difference to your score.
Everything we're going to talk about today really boils down to this one simple question. Looks easy, right? But believe it or not, how you answer this question puts you on one of two very different sides of a major academic debate. We're going to break down both sides so you can explain them clearly and confidently in your exams.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with that core question, then we'll do a deep dive into each of the two big approaches. After that, we'll put them head to head to see how they compare. We'll look at the big problems with the first view, and then we'll wrap it all up with a quick revision guide made specifically to help you nail this on your exam.
Okay, let's jump right into the first way of thinking. You'll see this in your textbooks called the human capital approach, or just HCA for short. Let's get past the jargon and figure out what it actually means.
So what's the big idea here? Well, the human capital approach looks at education almost entirely through an economic lens. It's kind of like this. It sees a person as, say, a factory machine. You invest money to upgrade the machine through schooling and training so it can produce more, faster. And why do you do that? Simple, for a bigger financial return down the road.
This diagram just lays out that logic perfectly. You can see it's a completely straight line, a very clear cause and effect. Step 1, you invest in, let's say, an engineering degree. Step 2, you get some really valuable skills. Step 3, because of those skills, you're now way more productive. And what's the final result? Step 4, you earn a higher income. See, in this view, education is basically a tool to make more money.
Okay, now for a little trick to help you in the exam hall. When you're under pressure and trying to remember all this stuff, just think of HCA as the higher cash approach. I know the C stands for capital, but if you link it to cash, you will instantly remember that this whole theory is about one thing: increasing your income. So, when you're structuring your exam answer, these are the key words you want to use. For the human capital theory, a good education system is one that results in people earning more money, companies becoming more productive, and the entire national economy growing bigger. That's it. That's the goal. All right, let's switch gears and look at the second perspective, the human capability approach, or HCAp. And that little P on the end makes all the difference because it signals a massive shift in thinking. A much broader, more human way of looking at education.
And this is where the whole picture just flips. This theory, which was developed by the Nobel Prize winner Amartya Sen, it doesn't ask how can we earn more. It asks how can we live better. The point of education here isn't just about a bigger paycheck. It's about expanding a person's real freedom to choose the kind of life they actually want to live.
So, if the last approach was a straight line to more cash, think of this one more like a web of new possibilities. Education expands your freedom and your choices. This then lets you build a life you actually value. And that includes things like good health, being active in your community, and having the power to stand up for your rights. It's so much more than just money.
And of course, we've got a mnemonic for this one too. Just remember HCAP as the human choice approach. It's all about giving people the capability to choose their own path in life. If you remember higher cash versus human choice, you will never get these two mixed up in an exam.
So what does success look like here? It's not about GDP or employment rates. It's about real, substantive freedoms, a person's overall well-being, and their empowerment to be part of society. And this leads to a really important point. For this approach, education isn't just a tool to get development. Education is development itself.
Okay, now for the part that's probably the most important for your exam questions, directly comparing and contrasting these two big ideas. Let's put them side by side in a proper showdown.
So, how do you actually lay all these differences out in a clear, easy-to-read way in your answer? Well, let's break it all down into a simple table. This is a format you can easily remember and even draw in your exam to make your points super clear.
This table is basically your cheat sheet. It's the perfect summary. Just look at the differences. HCA sees a person as a worker, an asset. HCP sees a person as a human being with choices. The goal for HCA is more income. For HCP, it's more freedom. For HCA, development is all about economic growth. For HCP, development is the expansion of human freedom.
You know, a really great exam answer doesn't just describe theories, it also critiques them. And the single biggest criticism of the human capital model is that it's just too focused on money. So let's dig into why that's such a big problem.
And this is the million-dollar question that the capability approach forces us to ask. It really challenges that basic idea that having more money automatically means you have a better life. The key argument is that our ability to actually turn money into a good life is different for every single person. Let me show you what I mean.
This right here gets to the absolute heart of the issue. A big salary can't protect you from discrimination. And think about it. In the Indian context, a woman in a very traditional household might earn a good income, but does she actually have the freedom to spend it how she wants? Her well-being is shaped by all these other factors that a simple, money-focused model like HCA just completely ignores.
Honestly, if you only remember one sentence from this entire discussion, make it this one. It perfectly captures the core difference. And it's an absolutely brilliant line to drop in your introduction or conclusion to show the examiner you really get it.
All right, let's pull everything together into one final revision slide. This is designed for that last-minute look over. You can glance at this right before you walk into the exam hall just to get all the key ideas fresh in your mind.
And there you have it. This slide has all the keywords, the main ideas, and of course, our super helpful mnemonics. For HCA, the keywords are productivity, income, and growth. For HCIP, they are freedom, choice, and well-being. Make sure you use these bolded terms in your answer to structure your points and tick all the right boxes for the examiner. And just as a final thought, to take your answer from just good to excellent, ask yourself this: how does this apply in the real world? To a country like India? Should our policies focus on creating skilled workers for economic growth, or should we focus on empowering citizens with freedom and choice? Thinking about that application can really take your conclusion to the next level. All the very best with your exams.